Hey everyone, JCS StarCraft here, bringing you Game 4 of the finals for the Go4SC2 number 36 between BratOK and Socke. Action getting started here on on Desert Oasis. Wow, I saw Desert, and then I thought Blistering Sands because it's so hot there, but this is Desert Oasis with Socke spawning as the Teal Protoss in the upper position and BratOK spawning as the Red Terran in the lower position. BratOK did win the last game, so this map choice from Socke right now, and in the last game Socke went for a pretty risky proxy robo facility and tried to really reinforce that. Meanwhile, did not see the landed factory in the smoke of Metalopolis, and eventually, unfortunately, just was caught off a little bit in the timing, did not have enough units out there to really reinforce. His unit composition was kind of went for the early Immortals, and unfortunately, because of all the Marines out on the field, was unable to deal as much damage as he wanted to. So I think Socke is going to refrain from any sort of tricky play on this game, and BratOK, because he is down 2-1 last game, also played a little bit more cautiously. I doubt he's going to be doing anything crazy here as well, but just play a very standard game on his own. 12 racks, 13 refinery, very standard opening for him. Socke, meanwhile, going to be going for a little bit later on that gateway, and right now looks like 14, and wow, it hasn't even thrown anything down yet at all. Getting his scout in pretty early, so it looks like a 14 gateway for him, and possibly a 15 on the assimilator, eking out that early advantage. Knows that BratOK is not going to do any sort of early pressure or anything crazy like that. BratOK actually getting down the tech lab, might be going for Reapers at the moment, and Socke is able to scout that out. Yes, the Reaper is coming to play on this map and going to be doing that harassment. Now Socke, of course, did get out a later gateway. This might actually hurt him a little bit right here if the Reaper can come out fast enough and get in that supply line. Is he going to be researching the nitro boost? I'm very curious for that. Let's see what the next 50 gas does bring, or is he just going to be pumping out Reapers right here? It looks like not opting for the nitro, but just getting as many Reapers out as possible. Could be pretty dangerous for Socke at this point. Socke definitely needs to pump out that Zealot to defend, although the Reaper can kite around it all day. And here comes the Reaper out, trying to do some early harassment if he can right there. And BratOK, meanwhile, is going to be saving up, I think, now for either a third Reaper if this is advantageous to him, or switching over to the factory to kind of tech up at that point. And now jumping up, this first Reaper will get in here before the Zealot is in the supply line right now, but unfortunately, if he can kite this properly, we'll be able to get off a few kills. Needs to be very careful just kiting that Zealot. The Zealot's just going to take a lot of fire and just going to go down before anything can happen. Only now is the Cybernetics Core finishing, and I think Socke desperately has to try to get that Stalker out. Going to Chrono Boost it right away, losing several units at this point. 3 kills already for this Reaper, so paying off big dividends already for the money that BratOK spent on it, throwing down an occasional D8 charge, and Socke is not even mining at the moment right here. So just blasting away at the probes. Socke trying to redistribute the probes the best he can. This Reaper is doing massive amounts of damage right now. 6 kills already, and just the lone Reaper right there, and just finally getting picked off from the Stalker. Another Chrono Boosted Stalker out there right now. So nine kills for that Reaper, and it looks like BratOK at this point is going to have a definite advantage. What is going on? The Zealot was actually trapped from Socke. Socke, I think, really wanted to reinforce the pylons, didn't want the Reaper to focus on the pylons, and unfortunately trapped one of his Zealots. So not a great opening for Socke in this game 4. And this other Reaper now not going to engage because the Stalker is already there, and now making this transition over to the factory at this point, transitioning also over to Marauders from that tech lab so that he can defend against maybe any sort of retaliation from the Reaper. The Reaper needs to get out of here because he cannot go up against the Stalker at all, and jumping onto the cliff, using that to his advantage. Can't stay on the cliff for too long because the Stalker can just run around to that Zonaga Watchtower, and just running around right now, he might be able to do some damage. Could pick off the Zealot if Socke is not careful. And now running in through the backside, there's another Stalker at the base, so that Reaper really is only going to be able to scout things out, wants to see if there's any sort of expansion right now, and might be able to hop up onto the supply line to do a little bit more damage as well. So Socke now going to be testing the front, seeing what his opponent has and what he's teched up to at the moment. Starport going down, and a tech lab, is he going to be doing a swap? I'm very curious to see if he's going to go for any sort of early Reaper harassment. And it looks like, oh, I'm sorry, Socke, meanwhile, has gone right for the Void Ray. Desert Oasis, of course, has a very long rush distance on the ground, but a very, very short rush distance in the air. And right now, BratOK actually does not have any anti-air. Oh, he does have the armory being built right now, so is getting the Thor right there. And a chrono boosted Void Ray is coming in. Does he have any engineering bay down? No, he does not. And the starport just about to finish, so this Thor needs to come out sooner. The Void Ray is coming out across the map. BratOK does not see it, but I think he sees it right now that there is a Stargate right there. Knows that he's in a bit of trouble right here, so I think for the moment, Socke will have his revenge on that early Reaper, charging up onto the refinery. And the Marauders are moving in, but unfortunately for BratOK, not going to be able to do anything. Needs this Thor to come out a little bit sooner, and BratOK just trying to micro away. Is able to save that one SCV, but now that this Void Ray is pretty decently charged, it's going to fry these SCVs right here. Lone Marine is out, and here comes that Thor. So the Thor should be able to drive off the Void Ray. The Void Ray is going to do a good amount of damage to it before it, no, not even, as that Marine was the focus of most of its fire. Look at the Thor ship now moving out across the map. He wants to hunt down that Void Ray and not going to let that go at all. BratOK going to be following it everywhere he can. The second Void Ray is coming in, so things are getting a little bit dangerous for him. BratOK really needs to focus on this Void Ray right here. And the medevac does go down, unfortunately. Void Ray versus Thor fight out onto the field. The Void Ray was fully charged from the medevac. Might be able to take out this Thor, actually, and it actually takes out the Thor before anything can happen. The Viking does go out into the air, and the Viking should be able to take it out once it can, yeah, because the speed boost not done for the Void Ray yet. Another Void Ray is coming out for Socke at the moment, and just going to be defending with that, finally getting down his second gateway as well. So early pressure from both players, neither really can relax at all, and BratOK going to be going down with this expansion at this point. Knows that the Void Rays take a significant amount of minerals for Socke to produce, and has really been nullified. I think going to be, once he can pump out more Vikings, and now that he knows that they're there, actually has another Thor out there as well. And so now Socke forced to retreat at the moment, and looks like he's going to be taking his expansion as soon as he gets 400 minerals as well. So already in the early game, a lot of action going down across the map. Phoenix now coming out to help enforce the Void Rays, taking out any Vikings in the air. Socke going to be moving in yet again, and here he comes on the backside. BratOK has a single Viking, and looks like he actually is going to go with Banshees at the moment, with the Cloak Banshee, because he knows that that robotics facility isn't there as well, and Void Rays are charging on that refinery. Phoenix has to be very, very careful right now. These Marines don't have any, they don't have stim at the moment, and trying to do their best. Is able to take down one of the Void Rays. Must repair the Thor. Can he repair it in time? Barely able to hold it alive, and unfortunately it does go down. The Viking goes down just as the Void Ray goes down as well, and now only Phoenix is left to do some harassment on the line. So both players losing everything at once, and now Viking is coming out. So Cloak is canceled for BratOK. He actually canceled it because of every harassment going down at his base, and Socke meanwhile going to be using that time. Knows that his opponent is pretty much contained in the base right there. So now the Phoenixes are acting as some really great scouts and revealing that, you know, BratOK actually has set up his second command center and is going to be floating out to his natural pretty soon. BratOK just constantly moving it in between and going to be getting that reactor down, I think, for the, I think this is for the starport, but I'm not sure why he landed it. Yeah, he just wanted to land that temporarily so that he could pop him up and down into the air. Finally, the robotics facility is down, and a Twilight Council actually coming out for Socke at this point. So this play has been incredibly different from every other game. So one of the fun things about Desert Oasis, of course, is the different play that it does provide. And now BratOK trying to do some damage. The refinery does go down the moment, and the Void Ray is charged, making it that much more dangerous to engage. Marines are on the ground, and they can do a good job. More than enough Marines to really engage that Void Ray. So Socke being forced to retreat at the moment, but the attack was successful in holding off BratOK for the moment. It actually did hold off the Banshee attack as well, and so the timing of it worked out really well for Socke, who might not have been ready for quite some time, as that Observer was out pretty late, and his only anti-air was really the Phoenixes back at the base. Now Socke going to be using a mix of Phoenixes and Void Rays to really scout things out, and BratOK now going to be moving over. Will be sighted, of course, if these if the Phoenixes kind of stay here and just wait for the command center to fly in at the moment. And now going to see the command center over, take some shots at it while it's in the air. But now that the Vikings are up in the air as well, trying to take down one of the medevacs, and the medevac able to retreat in time. Good reaction time from BratOK right there. So BratOK's suspension does go down. Looking quickly at the income tab, because Socke had his chrono boosted Nexus, second Nexus up a little bit sooner, is ahead in the harvester count, 46 to 33. BratOK going to be able to catch up temporarily in terms of minerals after this transfer happens because of the mules just pumping everything in right there. So dual muling action going on for him, but definitely behind in the gas count. So looking back, it looks like charge lots are being researched, and Templar play going to come in right now. Socke doing as much harassment, but taking off the mules, and a great play from Socke, so just wasting all that energy for BratOK at this point. Great transition from Socke to go from Void Rays right into Phoenixes, and now even has proxy pylons just thrown down across the map right here. Very smart play from Socke so that he can really reinforce anywhere that he really needs to across the map. And BratOK right now a little bit tired of the harassment, wants to move it and apply some pressure, knows that he is behind, forced to turtle into his base and defend for the moment. And it looks like Psystorm is being researched right now, +1 going down for BratOK as well. And BratOK now coming out here, picking off one of the Phoenixes, might be able to pick off a few more. The Phoenixes are incredibly fast, one of the fastest moving units in the game at 4.25 move speed. Yes, that's right, matching that of Hellions. And so they can pretty much outrun anything if they have to, as Hellions can't really take a shot at them. Viking speed, I think, 2.75, so not able to catch up. And a big drop down, going down for BratOK at the moment. Here it comes down at the base. Socke is expecting that to occur. Kind of saw them coming in a little bit earlier, and now Force might be able to use these clips right here, although there is a cannon there from Socke, so Socke already set up for any sort of harassment. What does BratOK see? Does he see? No, he doesn't see that cannon there, but doesn't really want to engage. Unfortunately for him, does not have siege tanks, so can't really blast across that quite as effectively. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are coming back in for harassment and able to pick off this medevac. No, it's going to drop everything down before it has a chance to get picked off, but trying to take shots at the Phoenixes. The Phoenixes doing a great job just keeping the harassment pressure going. Now moving in with his main forces right there, and it looks like Socke is able to retreat with some of the... where do those Phoenixes go? Did they go down? I think they might have gone down right there. Only 2 Phoenixes left, just kind of running around, scouting out right now for Socke. So Socke, very effective. Looking quickly at the units lost out, things are actually pretty even on both sides. Army count is Socke had 108 to 93. Some of those, a lot of those are actually harvesters, so the army is actually pretty even at the moment. And here it goes, a pretty decent battle going down right here. Unfortunately, BratOK does have the Vikings in the air to take out the Phoenixes, but does not really have a response to the Templar at the moment, and needs to be very, very careful right now. Needs to get that Ghost, or does have Ghost coming out right here, but not in this army, so I don't think he should engage. Needs to retreat at the moment. Once those side storms come down, it's going to be that much harder for him to really defend. And a random Void Ray in the mix right here. Socke going to be taking the gold expansion as well, so just going to be setting up on his side of the map. Knows that BratOK is behind because the orbital command came out a little bit later as well. And BratOK, I do like that he's throwing down the missile turret right here, although I think 2 missile turrets slightly more effective in holding off harassment than that single one. But you know, every mineral spared is not a good one. BratOK getting a very lucky thrown down scan at that point. Does see, I might have picked off some of the movements moving in right there. Not sure if the scan went that far, but it looks like Socke is going to engage at this point. SCV going out to scout a little bit, and there are ghosts right here, so Socke has to be very careful with the timing of his attack right now. Doesn't want to get EMP'd at all, and no, 1 EMP does go down, so the rest of these Templars are going to be useless. A few side storms do go down, and Socke desperately needs to retreat at this point, as he cannot engage his army with what he has on the ground. Running back as far as possible and building an Archon to try to defend against everything going on there. So great job from BratOK, just waiting for the Templars to run in, not throwing down EMP immediately, and now using Stim to run out ahead. Now going to be re-engaging as a few more Templars were brought in. Unfortunately for BratOK, does not know that that proxy pylon is right there, and with the amulet being researched, the Caridian amulet, those Templars can cast pretty much once they are brought into play. So it looks like BratOK has established his gold expansion as well, so both players taking their sides of the map. Socke is ahead in the economy, or has been slightly ahead the entire game. 80 over 52 harvesters at the moment, and mined out of his main, moving over just a crazy amount of probes right here and trying to make a transition over to the gold at the moment, which is why his income was a little bit lower. Now back on this back